good is your grammar in English? Do you want to check it out? You can do it in this video. I'm going to show you 10 sentences with mistakes that Spanish speakers make when they speak English. To begin with, I'm going to show you the whole list of sentences. I want you to stop the video for some time now, go through this list, write down your versions of where the mistakes are in those sentences, and when you're ready and you have the list of corrected sentences, come back and let's review every sentence step by step. So here is the list of all the sentences. Pause the video now and try to correct as many sentences as you can. Okay, now you are back and we're ready to check your answers. I'm going to explain to you why this is a mistake. Then I'll give you a second to correct the sentence according to my explanation, and then I will show you the correct version of the sentence. Here we go. So the first sentence we have here is, there's too many people in the meeting. In this particular sentence, there's too many people in the meeting. The problem is that people in English is a plural word, right? One person, two, three, many people. So it means that we need to use the plural version of that expression, which is there are. When we talk about two objects, three objects, many objects, or two people, three people, many people. What does it mean? How will you say this sentence correctly according to that explanation? 3, 2, 1. And here is the correct version. There are too many people in the meeting. There are. So if this topic is not very clear for you at the moment, I recommend you to review subject-verb agreement in English, right? When we use plural form of the verb, when we use singular form of the verb, right? The topic that you can Google is subject-verb agreement. Here are 3 sentences for you, my friend. Can you find a sentence with a mistake? There is a message for you. There are many opportunities in this company. There is people waiting outside. If you need to, pause this video. And the correct answer is, of course, there is people waiting outside is wrong, and we would need to change it to there are people waiting outside. Don't worry, because this is a mistake that native speakers also make quite frequently, and here are a few examples for you. Check them out.
There is talent in people, and then there's gift.
There's crazy people out there.
There's music, there's people, there's life.
Native speakers also make this mistake quite often. This mistake now should be very easy for you to correct because we just talked about this. And the mistake, of course, is the same as we just saw. People is a plural word in English. In Spanish, it's la gente, singular. In English, it's plural, people. One person, two, three, many people. And we use are and do when we talk about people. We don't use is or does. So, knowing that, how would you correct this sentence? 3, 2, 1. People are here. This is exactly the same topic as we just saw with the first mistake. Here are 3 sentences for you. And again, I would like you to find sentences with mistakes, if there are any. A lot of Canadian people works here. People in my department are the best. Is people happy in this company? And I will tell you now. Of course, is people. We now know that it's are people. Are people happy in this company? And there's one more mistake. I hope you found it, because also we do not say works. People is plural, so we say people work. People work here. A lot of Canadian people work here. This mistake is not made by native speakers. It's purely Spanish-speaking mistake. Moving on. Sentence number 3. If I will see my boss, I will tell him. The mistake here is the fact that in first conditional sentences is if plus situation, right? In the first conditional sentences, we do not use the word will after if. we use a normal present simple form of the verb, right? And if it helps, in all the sentence, we will have just one if and one will, and they will occupy different parts of the sentence, right? So we'll never put if and will together in one part. And if you think of that, in Spanish, you do exactly the same. You never put the verb in the future form after if. So knowing that, how would you correct the sentence? Give you 1 second to think. If you need more time, pause the video. And the correct version is, if I see my boss, I will tell him. If I see my boss, I'll tell him. If this topic is not super clear for you at the moment, I recommend you to check first conditional. It's when we talk about possible future. Check how we make positive sentences, how we make questions, and how we make negative sentences in the first conditional sentences. Okay, so now let's see if you can find a mistake in one of these sentences. If it rains, we'll cancel the event. If Mr. Ramirez calls, I'll let you know. I'll do it if you will be late. Pause this video if you need to think a little bit more, because now I'm going to give you the correct, incorrect sentence, and that is the last one. Because you see, we have if and will in the same part, and also we already included the will. So we don't need any more wills. We just have one for the whole sentence. So we would just say, I'll do it if you are late. Mistake number 4. What event? Tim didn't say nothing. So the mistake here is about the negative situation, right? In English, we do not normally use double negatives. You can hear it. Native speakers sometimes use double negatives. We will see some examples later, but grammatically it's not correct. And if you want to sound professional and formal and educated, I do not recommend you to use double negatives. How would you correct the sentence? 3, 2, 1. What event? Tim didn't say anything. So this is one of the ways how we can correct the sentence, because also we could remove didn't and leave nothing, right? So we would say, what event? Tim said nothing. Tim said nothing. It's always one negative per sentence. If this grammar is troubling you at the moment, I recommend you to review negative statements in English to see how the negative sentences are created. Okay, here are 3 sentences for you to choose from and find an incorrect one, or more than one, or maybe all of them are correct. Check them out, pause this video if you need to, and give me the incorrect version. 3, 2, 1, and it is the last one. I'm not doing nothing to help you. You see, double negative. I'm not doing nothing. We cannot say that. So one way to correct it would be, I am not doing anything to help you. As I mentioned, native speakers sometimes make this mistake too. So let's hear some examples.
I didn't say nothing.
I won't say nothing.
So I don't say nothing.
You see the same sentence, but in the past, in the present, and in the future. But in any case, they all use double negatives, which now we know that grammatically is not correct. Number 5, she don't like the proposal. The auxiliary verb do must agree with the subject. What does it mean? If the subject is the third person singular, which is she, he, or it, third person is not you, and it's not me, it's the third person, right? It's not these 2 people that are talking. The third person, she, he, or it. So if the subject is the third person, then the auxiliary verb is not don't. How would you correct the sentence? Tick tock, tick tock. And the correct option is, she doesn't like the proposal.
She doesn't.
If it's not clear why and what this thing is, I recommend you to Google subject-verb agreement in present simple, right? This is a present simple tense, so you can Google more information or watch more videos on this particular topic. Where is the mistake here? We have 3 sentences. Mary doesn't work here anymore. Her husband and she doesn't live in England. He doesn't have a job at the moment. Do you know which one is incorrect? 3, 2, 1, and it's the second one. Her husband and she does not live in England. And you may be confused and say, she doesn't. Why it's not correct? Look at the subject. We have her husband and she. Her husband and she are 2 people. It's not 1 person. So that's why we do not say doesn't, because for 2 people, we use the helper don't. But for 1 person, we say doesn't. Moving on. I've seen him yesterday. Do you know where the mistake is here? In this sentence, we are using present perfect. I've seen him yesterday. So I have seen is present perfect. And when you use present perfect, you cannot use a specific past time expression. In this case, we have yesterday. So you need to choose whether you say I have seen or yesterday, but not both. Knowing that, how would you correct this sentence? If you need, pause this video, correct it, and come back to me. And now I will tell you my version, because it's just 1 out of 2 possible ways to correct the sentence. I saw him yesterday, right? Basically, you just use normal past tense, past simple tense in English. Right? You don't complicate your life with have seen, I have seen. I saw him yesterday. If this topic is not clear for you, I recommend you to check out the difference between present perfect and past simple. You have present perfect in Spanish, he visto, but unfortunately, it's not used exactly the same way as in English. So check out the specificities of present perfect and past simple in English. Now I'm going to show you 3 sentences, and I would like you to tell me which one or which ones are not correct here. Last night I saw the contract with the agency. We have discussed the conditions. My boss has returned from Europe 2 days ago. Which one is not correct? 1, 2, 3. And it's the last one. My boss has returned from Europe 2 days ago. You see, again, we put has returned and 2 days ago. So we need to remove one or the other. And in this case, for example, I suggest we remove has. So you can simply say, my boss returned from Europe 2 days ago. Moving on. He doesn't said anything. In this situation, we use past simple tense, right? But somehow we use present helper doesn't instead of the past helper didn't. The verb after the doesn't or the didn't, the next verb needs to be in its base form. In this case, it's say, not said. So let's now calculate the correct answer.
Did you get it?
What is it? So my version is, he didn't say anything. He didn't say anything. If this topic produces some questions for you, I recommend you to review past simple, especially negative sentences in past simple, and make sure that you know how to create those sentences in English. Here are 3 examples for you. Can you find 1 or 2 or 3 with a mistake? Okay, and the incorrect sentence is the first one. I didn't knew what to say, right? Now we know that the next word after didn't needs to be in its base form, which means no, I didn't know what to say. So that's not correct. Let me see if we have more mistakes. The marketing manager doesn't came to work. It seems to be incorrect as well, as we have doesn't came. right? And we just learned that the helper needs to be in the past form, didn't, and the next verb needs to be in the base form, come. So didn't come to work. And let's review the last one. The team didn't cooperate well. Is it okay? It is okay. Okay, we will leave it as is. Okay, so that was our mistake number 7. And the mistake number 8, I didn't went to the corporate meeting in Mexico. After the previous mistake, it now must be much simpler for you to spot the mistake. Let's see if you can do it. And as we just mentioned, that after the auxiliary verb did, the next word needs to be in the base form, because the auxiliary verb is doing all the job by demonstrating that this sentence is in the past. Yeah, this situation happened in the past. I know it because I see didn't. So I don't need to make the verb work. It can stay in its normal form, go. So knowing that, how would you correct this sentence? And my version is, I didn't go to the corporate meeting in Mexico. Right? I didn't go. I didn't go. Again, if this is a question for you, or if you are not familiar with this grammar topic, now you know that you can review past simple tense in English and especially negative sentences in the past simple tense. 3 sentences for you to find a mistake. I didn't read the email because you didn't send it to me. That's why I don't reply to you. Where's the mistake? Pause this video if you need to. Okay, so here is a mistake because you didn't send it to me. We just learned that the next verb needs to go in the base form, right? So didn't send. Okay, and is everything else okay? No, it's not, because also we have a mistake here. That's why I don't replied to you. I didn't reply. So if you are saying a sentence in the past, the first verb will always indicate that it's the past. Not the second, not the third, not the fourth. The first verb will do the job. We have 2 more mistakes left in this video. So the number 9 mistake is, where I can find a bank. Do you know what's wrong here? Let's find out. I can tell you that we have here a modal verb. Right? Modal verb can in this particular situation. So the word order in questions with modal verbs is different from the word order in positive sentences with modal verbs. The way how we see the sentence now, it's pretty much a positive sentence. If we remove the question mark from the end, that's a normal sentence, affirmative. But we need a question. So what does it mean? How would you correct the sentence? Where can I find a bank? Where can I find a bank? Again, if this topic is not clear for you, I recommend you to learn about modal verbs and especially questions with modal verbs, so you can see how they are different from questions without modal verbs or from affirmative sentences with modal verbs. 3 sentences for you to find a mistake. Where can I park my car? Can I help you? You can do it tomorrow. And the incorrect sentence here is the last one. You can do it tomorrow. You can do it tomorrow is affirmation, right? We say, you can do it tomorrow. But if we want to ask, can you do it tomorrow? Can you do it tomorrow? You see, super simple. With modal verbs, it's very simple to make questions. Okay, we got to the last challenge for today, then our last sentence with a mistake. So let's see if we can correct it. He must to finish the report. So this sentence is also about modal verbs, but it is not a question. So what's wrong here? So what's wrong is when we use modal verbs, they are different from normal verbs. And modal verbs don't follow the rules of normal verbs, right? So we have to between normal verbs, but if we are using a modal verb, we don't need to after it. So knowing that, how would you correct the sentence? And the answer is, he must finish the report. He must finish the report. If it's not clear, again, I invite you to investigate the topic of modal verbs in English and see how they are different from normal verbs. Make sure you write down all the rules of modal verbs. There are not very many, it's like 4 or 5 maybe. But they are different from normal verbs. And knowing that, can you find a mistake in one of these sentences or more? Or maybe all of them are correct. Let's see. She should to call the client as soon as possible. We must leave now or we'll be late. We can close the deal if you agree on the terms. By the way, you don't have to understand the whole sentence to be able to correct the mistake, because we just need to find the specific grammar mistake we just learned. So don't worry if you don't understand the whole sentence. And the sentence with the mistake here is the first one. She should to call. After modal verbs, we don't use the to. So, ciao with the to. And we say, she should call the client as soon as possible.
I should remember that.
Okay, and before I let you go, I would like you to remember that the best way to learn grammar is in context, right? So it's not enough just to watch a grammar video and memorize the rules. Use it in contexts, especially in your context. That will be the best way for you to remember how to talk about the past, how to use modals, how to make negative questions, etc. Number 2, the best way for you to remember the grammar that you're trying to learn is to use spaced repetitions, which means that today you learned something, great, you took your notes, you did the exercises, and then in a week you review the same topic again. And then in 2 weeks, you come back and review it again. So this spaced repetition will strengthen your knowledge and memory. You will remember better everything that you're trying to learn. And finally, it's always about communication and not perfection. If you try to focus on the perfect grammar, you won't be able to communicate clearly. And if you are not communicating clearly, nothing else matters, because you can have the best grammar, but if your message is not clear, who cares? So try to switch your mindset to communication, to clear message, while you are working on your grammar. Grammar is not the number one priority. The communication is. When you finish all this video, I invite you to see the next one, where we are going to look at typical mistakes with prepositions. Are you ready to challenge yourself? So go to the next video.